Feminism and what it means to be a woman, by personal and societal definitions, has changed drastically in recent decades. The United States has seen a surge of feminist movements, and support for women's equality has significantly increased. While feminism has had great success in the United States, it is important to understand that feminism and women's lives and freedoms are not the same around the world, and that feminist activism can appear in many different forms. We spoke to some international students to learn more about what feminism means around the world and how it is influenced by the intersectionalities of race, class, gender, and culture.
Hi, my name is Anyako Sawavi and I'm from Togo.
I'm Joanne Wong and I'm from Beijing, China.
I'm Sanne Schouten, I'm from the Netherlands.
My name's Alejandra Ada and I'm from Guam.
The term feminism was first coined in Europe in 1873, but did not have global significance right away because of differing cultural norms. Just as every country is different, so are their feminist goals. Thus, it is important to remember that feminism takes on different meanings all around the world.
I would define feminism as wanting equality no matter what gender you are.
I think feminism, surrounds the topic or idea of the power that women hold or should hold in society.
Feminism for me is women being treated equally as men.
To me, feminism means working towards the equality of all people, of all genders.
A person's upbringing is just as impactful in their lives as their cultural origins. Interactions with parents, friends, and their values and how they act in daily life can have a significant influence on the way an individual thinks and behaves, including their thoughts on feminism.
Definitely, because as a Togolese woman, we're told to be more traditional, kind of the good wife, can cook and all of that. And because I'm not very fond of that definition, I've kind of grown up to be more of a feminist. You can have an education and yes, you can be successful, but you're not allowed to be more successful than the guy or the male figure. It's kind of like you do whatever your father says or you do whatever your husband says. You cook, you do the dishes and all of that. And yes, you can have an education, but you can't be more educated than the male figure.
Especially in China, I think they still follow a very traditional outlook or approach to gender roles. Just off the top of my head, I can think of the structure of families in China when you marry, when your daughter marries somebody, they kind of marry into the husband's family, and a lot of the times you no longer get to see your daughters often because you have to tend to the husband or the male's family.
Well, feminism in the Netherlands is not really big, and it's usually kind of made fun of. But I also feel that in general, women and men are treated equally, and people don't really think it's a big issue. I see feminism has definitely been influenced by my parents or friends, by the way they just advocate for their own rights and their opinion.
Well, Guam has always been a matriarchal society, and gender roles in the Chamorro culture were pretty much distinct and balanced. So women had a dominant role in our society. These traditional roles, though, changed on Guam during the 3 centuries of our colonialism by the Japanese and the United States.
Personal experiences play a critical role in someone's perspective on feminism. These experiences are dependent on many factors, including where they live or who they spend time with. Unfortunately, these experiences are mostly negative and range from offensive comments to physical or sexual abuse. Learning more about these different experiences is crucial to gain a more in-depth understanding of the global feminist movement.
This was like when I was living with my sisters and my cousins were male. My sisters and I would have to like get up, I think really early, I would say like 7 a.m. before school, and like do chores and get like food ready for the midday lunch that everyone comes home for, and my male cousins would just like stay in bed and kind of just do whatever they want until it's time for school.
Well, I think back home, I had a helper at home, and her job was very inconsistent growing up. So she married her husband when she was really young, like 18, and depending on where the husband went for work, like moving around and stuff like that, she had to follow. So she picked up like a lot of different like temporary jobs, like she was a helper in like multiple families in like the area, or she did like cleaning, like as a janitor, or like dishwasher, like in different places. And they're all very like low income jobs, are very like inconsistent, and obviously not what she would like. So I guess that's like a very brief example of someone I know, at least back home, I think that's very common. And I think to her and to a lot of people in Asia and like experiencing like that kind of culture, that's like very normal. It's kind of the norm. I think to a certain extent my family is as well. Kind of my mother, kind of depending on where my father is located and stuff. That is I know is a very common characteristic of Asian families. And very rare would you find that to be the other way around.
Women are treated like pretty equal to men. I'm not really sure like how it is in the US, but there's no big difference in between women and men in like higher positions in big companies or something like that, and they also will not be treated differently, or maybe not get a job just because they're female.
About a year and a half ago, we had a gubernatorial election. The race was between a woman running for governor, and her lieutenant governor was a man, and then the opposite team was both men. And she won the election, so that was a big thing for back home, and it was pretty inspiring to those young women back home, saying, look, I can be the leader of home, you can do it too. So there's a shift in society and the way that women and men contributed to society. But more recently, a group of women started an organization called MAGA Hogart Rising, which means, women rising, and it focused on uplifting, empowering, and inspiring the young women on Guam, which returned back to our matrilineal ways, saying that, look, if we can do it, then you guys can do it too. But it doesn't exclude men, so everyone's welcome.
After learning about the diverse experiences of women's lives and interactions with feminism in Togo, China, the Netherlands, and Guam, it is clear that there are many contributing factors from class, culture, and race that impact the freedoms in their lives. Despite recent successes around the world, there is still a lot of progress and change to be made. Each country has different goals in feminism, and their progress takes form in different ways. Because of this, it is important that women around the world overlook their experiential differences and unite around the common goal of achieving global feminine equality. This message is embodied in Maya Angelou's quote, "Each time a woman stands up for herself, without knowing it possibly, without claiming it, she stands up for all women."